Thank you for joining us. We're back with former State Senator Eric Griego. We're talking about the various issues there. Before we went for break, we're talking about the general economic situation in Albuquerque. And I'm glad you brought up the point about the light rail and all that. I have brought this up to several other individuals that are running for city council. Janice was here. She was appointed by them. Mayoral race is getting pretty heated there. What, you have any opinion? I know I don't want you to take sides there. We're kind of neutral on this show, but what is your opinion on the current race? Is there any particular? I'm sure you know Pete.
Yeah, I know. Actually, I know Mayor Berry, and I don't know Mr. Hay very well, the third candidate, but I know both Mayor Berry and Pete Dinelli was in city government when I was a city councilman. I think it's going to be interesting. This is the elections in October, and we have this newly passed law that you have to get 50% of the vote. So my gut tells me there's going to be a runoff because there's essentially two, Republican, although it's a nonpartisan race, candidates that.
Because of Mr. Hay there, you think they will?
Yeah, Mr. Hay, he probably will. I think will mean there's a runoff, and there's only one Democrat, so it'll likely be. Pete Dinelli, and assuming the mayor is strong enough. So
he's pretty high in the polls right now.
Oh yeah, well he's
at 60 some percent there. But I know sometimes these polls tend to shift a little. They tend to change a little as you get closer. So what is your opinion? You feel
I think that with the new rules it's hard, 50%. So it's hard for anybody, including the mayor, to get 50% outright. I mean, it's possible, but I think there'll probably be a runoff, and the one Democrat and likely one of the Republicans will probably be in the runoff. The big difference I've seen is you have only one candidate running publicly financed, which is Pete Dinelli, and that was legislation that I worked on when I was up in city council. It's really important because it essentially means that you don't have to spend a lot of time fundraising. You have to spend a lot of time talking to people. The bad news is with the recent Supreme Court decision, independent groups can get heavily involved and basically determine the outcome of the race. So the big thing I think we should be looking for is how much independent groups get involved. They may get involved for one candidate or the other. I think the mayor has chosen not to do public financing, so that means he may have more money to spend than Pete Dinelli.
He does have a lot more money.
Yeah. Pete Dinelli is probably through public financing, he'll get something like $350,000, $380,000. Which sounds like a lot of money, but it costs, just to get your name out there on TV, it's $100,000 a week, and so most of your money goes into trying just getting people to know your name. And so I think Pete has a big disadvantage there. The mayor's been the mayor, and he's got high name ID. So I think it's going to be a tough one for the challengers, but anything can happen. We've got several months to go, and politics. A day is a lot.
It's a tough race though, because you ran in 2005.
Yeah, I ran in 2005.
I remember that
and
race,
came in second. Marty Chavez was the mayor, and same kind of dynamic. He was, a very high name ID. The economy was in better shape, I think, at the time, and we didn't raise a lot of money. It was tough to raise. I think he raised over $1 million, and
you didn't have public financing at that time.
No, I hadn't. I didn't. It had passed, but it wasn't applying to the mayor's race until the following cycle. So the first cycle we ever had public financing was in the 2009 cycle, when all three candidates, ironically, the current mayor Berry, Marty Chavez, and Richard Romero, all ran publicly financed, which was great. Because I think it's important that you not only have to have the strongest fundraiser win these things, and that's the way it is in a lot of races. He who raises the most money typically has the best advantage of winning. In this case, if you take that money issue off the table, it makes it a little easier. Now, with the Supreme Court Citizens United decision, it complicates it now,
Very
right?
complicated.
Because now you can be an independent group and spend a lot of money separate from one of these candidates, but supporting one of them essentially.
All these PACs that are spending the money out there.
Exactly.
And nationally, we saw the money that got spent last election cycle with President Obama and Mitt Romney there. When this current mayor came in, Mayor Berry came in, economy was in a pretty bad shape. So I know he had to, instead of laying off individuals, he said, well, let's just take a cut in pay and all that. Did you agree with that? Did you feel that, was there anything different that you felt that he could have done at that point? Because right now he's trying to bring that APD back to its 1,100, I think, or something like that. There's cadets that are actually going through schooling right now. He's trying to create some city jobs. The last $480 million budget that he just put through, and I think the city council approved it. Did you look at that budget? Did you feel that was there something that he's saying is a balanced budget? You know, he looked at it from every aspect. It's something that they're looking down the road. They're saying they're creating a lot more GRT as far as in the out years and stuff. So their projections look good, is what they're saying. Do you feel that this mayor could have done something different? And I know we're looking at it 4 years down the road there almost. So.
Well, you know, I think Albuquerque's economy really and the state economy sort of lagged a lot of the country because of the nature of our economy. We have, as you know, we have a huge federal investment here, which sort of bolstered us or buoyed us from some of the really extreme ups and downs that some other cities went through. We also had a pretty large construction and real estate sector, which then eventually, really, with the mortgage crisis, collapsed, and that's really what really took the wind out of a lot of the economy. So it's hard, it's easy to go back and say what you should have done. I do think it's important that when we talk about public service and public servants that we think about who those people are, and they're police officers and they're firefighters, and they're the guys who pick up your garbage, the sanitation workers, they're the guys who make your wastewater systems work. Part of what I think has been unfortunate in public discourse is this sort of scapegoating teachers and scapegoating public employees. The bottom line is city employees, they make the city work, and of course they should be held to high standards, but most of us have either friends or neighbors or relatives who work in public service, and I think we should honor that service. Again, we should expect high standards from them, but we shouldn't say when things are going rough, that people are sort of expendable, because
so his decision to not lay them off was an okay decision? You agree with that?
I think I would agree to
take the pay cut rather than to...
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just don't think laying people off, not when you already have been cut. I don't think the city government was bloated. Again, it's fun to perpetuate these myths that we've got this big bloated state government, city government, and the truth is, we're stretched thinner than we ever have been in terms of public services. We just are, because so many states and local governments, cities and counties, have had to cut back because of the economy, and because, frankly, the federal government has made cities and counties take a lot more of the burden of paying for basic services. And we all want to live in a city where we got a police officer or a firefighter who will respond when we have a crisis. But more important than that, we want people to maintain our streets. We want our garbage to be picked up in a timely way. We want, we want to have a place where our grandparents or parents can feel safe and maybe go for a swim at a public facility. So those are what make a community strong and safe and good, and to say that that's the first thing to go is, I mean, we've all had the experience where we show up at a facility and because of budget cuts, there's nobody there. And unfortunately, what it does is it perpetuates the myth that, oh, well, this public service is terrible. But when you ask one guy to do a job that 7 people were doing at one point and you can't get the response, it's not good management. It's not good management in the private sector, and it's not good management in the public sector.
We'll take a short break. We'll come back and we'll talk about a few other issues there. I think that was the last segment there. So,
okay.
So thank you for, I really appreciate you coming. We'll be back shortly, take a couple of minutes break there.